Welcome to Fit, Focus, and 50. Join host Richard Erker as he dives into 4 pillars to thrive in your 50s. Mental wellness, financial freedom, physical strength, and spiritual connection. It's time to take control of your well-being and live your most purposeful life.
It's Richard Erker, your host. At Fit, Focus, and 50, we are focused on physical health, mental health, your financial health, and spiritual health in your 50s, so you can live a happier, healthier, fuller life. Today's podcast is sponsored by Kimberly Simons and her team at Ballwin Dental Care, providing decades of world-class treatment, including cleanings, whitening, implants, crowns, bridges, dentures, Invisalign, and much more. Give them a call today at 636-227-2552 today to set your appointment. Today's special guest is Caleb Summers. Caleb is a personal trainer and owner of CNP Fitness. Thank you, Caleb, for joining us today. We appreciate your time and your knowledge and your insights on physical fitness for those in their 50s. If you have questions or comments for Caleb, you can reach him at CNP Fitness on Instagram. Okay, Caleb, welcome to the show. We appreciate you again. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got interested in physical fitness.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show, Rich. Yeah, my journey in terms of fitness is a little interesting. It started with a crush with a girl that I was interested in. I didn't actually know anything about fitness, to be honest with you. And that was my only excuse to be around this person. So I was at a community college and I would go into this gym, didn't know what I was doing. But eventually, these other really jacked guys gave me some workouts that I could do. And then I was doing like random shoulder exercises because they tried to have me bench press 95 pounds. I'll never forget that. I thought I was going to die. I was like, wow, I'm so weak. So this guy, he told me, oh, don't worry. We'll do these shoulder press exercises, 3 sets of 10 every day. You'll get stronger. So that's all I ever did. I didn't program or anything. I just did the shoulder press, 3 sets of 10 and some other random exercises for like maybe a year or so. And then I went to Iowa State University, was blessed to have very health conscious roommates who had contests eating broccoli and spinach and stuff like that, which seemed insane. But due to peer pressure, it actually really helped me with my health. At the time, I used to drink a lot of sodas and my diet was absolutely terrible. And they saw me bring a soda to the dining table, and they looked at me like I committed a heinous crime. Like, what is this? What are you doing? And I would never forget that feeling. And ever since then, I actually stopped drinking sodas because I was so embarrassed having it. And subsequently, I've just focused on health. People thought I was good at helping people. So when I got enough money saved up, I bought a personal training certification. And the rest, honestly, is just history and learning how to work with people of all various fitness ages. Like in terms, if you're a professional athlete, if you never worked out in your life, if you're 90 plus years old, or if you're 5 years old, I've been very blessed to work with all different age ranges.
Wow, that's great. I appreciate you sharing that. So you were chasing after a girl. So did you get the girl?
No, not at all. Her name was Lan, and she actually had a boyfriend, and she would always complain about him being a bad guy. So I was trying to be the nice guy. Look how good I am. Look what you're missing out on. But it never actually worked out. But I'm kind of glad I'm actually married now, thank God. So I'm glad it didn't work out because that wasn't for me. But that's actually what got me through the door, which is very interesting. And I don't know where I would be to this day if I actually didn't go to that gym.
Yeah, it's great having you on because a lot of your goals, you want to help people, and that's what we want to do. That's our goal, is to get people on track to be healthy and to be able to live longer and have that ability and the knowledge on how do I get there, right? What's the path that I need to take? So if someone's looking for a personal trainer, they want to start out and they think they need a personal trainer, what should they look for in a personal trainer?
Well, the first thing you need to look for is whether he or she is certified. Unfortunately, there are many people who aren't even certified in the first place. So that's a huge issue in itself. And you could just look it up with the certification they claim to have. You can see what certified, like you go to the National Academy of Sports Medicine and Google my name, you'll see every certification I ever acquired with them or precision nutrition and such forth. So that's all in a database. Second thing you want to look for is whether your personal trainer is coach centered or client centered. So what's the difference between the two? So a coach centered trainer is only consumed with what they want to do. So for example, hey, this is the workout I had planned, or here are the macronutrients you should hit. You should hit this number of grams of protein, this number of grams of carbs, this number of grams of fat, hit this number of calories, and they can care less about your life or anything else. All they care about is, hey, do the plan. You do it, you'll get amazing results. Look at all my transformation. Look at all my testimonials. Just do what I say, you'll be great. So that's called coach-centered training. And unfortunately, it denies the human aspects of reality. Whereas a client-centered coach, they work with the actual person. Let's say if you struggle with protein, you can use what we call a 1% better mentality. Okay, can we try to at least have protein for breakfast? Can we at least have a muscle milk? Like one of my strategies, even for myself, is keep muscle milks in my trunk. I don't have an excuse if I got muscle milks in the trunk. I can just open it up and drink a protein shake. So this 1% better mentality helps people with the macronutrient they normally wouldn't get enough of. So a coach-centered coach doesn't care why you can't do it. Just do it. And that can lead to a lot of frustration, burnout, and ultimately you end up bouncing from personal trainer to personal trainer. Or even worse, let's say exercise-wise, you can't do a deep squat. They say, oh, just suck it up and get into a squat. So you see that like boot camp style coaching and things like that. And it's very discouraging. Whereas a client-centered coach works where you are starting, and that leads to positive experience, and it motivates people to want to do it for the long term. So in short, you want to make sure your coach is client-centered, not coach-centered. And usually you can tell very quickly if you have an issue and if they try to overcome your issues with their own excuses why you shouldn't do it. So a client-centered coach is going to want to hear what you have to say, and they're not going to try to produce evidence say, oh, you should be able to do this. Evidence show if you drink this many beers or something, this happens to your liver. That doesn't matter in client-centered coaching. So I would say that's something I've learned over the last 12 years for myself to even do in my business to make not only myself successful, but my clients successful.
So you have to be able to engage with the client, right? And the client has to be able to engage with the coach. You want to be compatible. If you're not compatible with a person that's in your face and yelling and screaming at you to motivate you, that's not going to work for you. So that's not the trainer for you. So you move on to the next person and you find a better fit for you.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, I've even hired a coach to help me because sometimes I get so busy with work. Sometimes my nutrition is lax, and actually just recently had a very coach-centered trainer, and I got a reality check, even though I don't really do this in my business, but I saw exactly why I should not do this because I was having some difficulties. Like the other day, I said, hey, I was having some trouble getting more than 4 or 5 hours of sleep sometimes because of how much work I do. And instead of meeting me with compassion, saying, hey, first of all, great job with your business and let's meet you where you're at, I'm actually hit with a list of the issues of not getting sleep as if I didn't know this already. So what this does, it just alienates the person, and it makes the person almost like gaslights the person, make you feel like you're doing something wrong. And ultimately, because I'm a professional, I already know that that's not the case. So I actually stopped using this guy. I just kind of parted ways with him because I was like, you're not focused on me as a human. I don't need that. And if you can't meet me in reality, you're not a good coach. I didn't tell them that, but this is what I'm thinking. And a lot of clients would do this too. They will feel burnt out. But unfortunately, because they're not experts in how this works, what happens is they just stop working out. They say, oh, I tried personal training before, so let me just take a GLP-1. That must be the way that I'm going to do this. And it leads to a lot of misconceptions about health and wellness because you just had a poor trainer who was coach-centered and not client-centered.
All right. Understandable for sure. So when we look at getting motivated. So you mentioned a couple of things that we also talk about on Fit, Focus, and 50. 1% better, meet you where you are and get you up. Keep coaching up a little bit up. What are some of the ways that you find that you can really motivate people that are hard to motivate? Because like we've talked about before, consistency is key. How do you keep them motivated and consistent on a program?
So motivation is quite fleeting, and motivation is it's like wind. It can be going one direction or another direction within seconds. So you never want a program relying on motivation. And I'm going to challenge a lot of Instagrammers that talk about discipline. Discipline is just another made up term that says a lot of nothing. So ultimately, we everything we do is based on what I coach on. It's called deep health, and deep health has 6 pillars. So the first pillar of health is your physical health, such as wanting 6-pack abs. Everybody wants 6-pack abs within next month because the pool season is coming up. So physical health is how you feel, how you look. Next one is how you think, and this is your mental health. Mental health is a huge problem. If you have self-defeating mentality, this can affect motivation in the first place. Again, that 1% better mentality helps with the mental health and takes a lot of pressure off your body, uh, physically and mentally. The next one is your emotional health. A lot of people get emotional health and mental health confused, but the difference between mental health and emotional health is that mental health tells you how to solve the problem. Emotional health tells you what stratosphere should you be in. So, for example, if a baby is born, it tells me to feel happy, but it doesn't tell me what to do with the happiness. So, similarly, if someone is sick, you may feel sad, but it doesn't tell you to do as you're being sad. So, emotional health just say, hey, this is the general way you should feel, and then mental health tells you how I approach it. So let's use another example. If there was a fire in a building, if someone says my house is on fire, the emotional health is I'm afraid, fear. It doesn't tell you what to do with the fire. Mental health say, hey, here's the fire emergency plan. So when you put those together, then you're in good health. So that's how you can tell the difference between emotional health and mental health. A lot of times you have the wrong emotion at the wrong time, such as anger when you should be happy or happiness when you should be sad. And this causes a dichotomy between what you're trying to do. So let's do a quick recap that's a little complex. So we got the physical health, emotional health, mental health. Next one is the people around you. That's your social health. If the people around you don't care about health, it can be very difficult to do it yourself. Or vice versa. In my case, the people around me was super health conscious in college, and I was drinking a lot of sodas. So it made me look kind of silly. So I stopped drinking sodas because of my social health, which takes us to your environmental health. If you have no gyms around you, or if you're always traveling, it doesn't matter how much motivation you have if you're on an airplane. So environmental health says, hey, can you even get there, or is it even possible? And the final one is like your purpose, and we call this existential health. Like, hey, why do I even exist? Because if you don't have a purpose of doing this, who cares about 6-pack abs? Who cares about being jacked? You got to have some purpose driving you to this in the first place. So to recap, motivation is really based on your physical health, how you look, your mental health, what you think, your emotional health, how you feel, your environmental health, what's around you, your social health, who's around you, and your existential health, why am I even here? And when you put those together, now motivation is not so black and white. And there's a lot of moving components of why you can lose motivation.
Excellent. So I hope everyone's paying attention to this. So again, this is Caleb Summers with CNP Fitness. You can find him on Instagram. Some great information, things we don't even think about that you've brought to light that are more topics. And I'm having light bulb moments going off. So this is very enlightening. I love it. Thanks for sharing those insights. So with our audience being mainly in their 50s, what kind of exercises do you think now we should focus on? So we can't work out like we did in our 20s. We can't go in the gym and throwing around a ton of weight. Is there certain exercises for like flexibility, hand strength that we should focus on? We talk about, when you get older, you don't want to fall down and break a hip. That's kind of the beginning of the cycle towards the end for a lot of people. So stability exercises, those kinds of simple exercises for people in their 50s to start with. Any thoughts there?
So the key thing is practical and not make it too abstruse.
Yeah.
Obviously, you should have stability and mobility, but most people may not even do the exercises right in the first place. And if you do the exercises incorrectly, it can actually cause more harm than good. Just like every building needs a foundation, but if you lay down a poor foundation, man, I don't want to be in that building. So while it is important, you better know what you're doing when you put that foundation down. So instead of me giving you advice about what exercise to do, I'll tell you what most people almost definitely don't do that has a better return on investment, and that's walking. Most people barely move. They get 1,500, if they're lucky, 3,000 steps a day. And health reports show that when you're over the age of 50, when you get between the 6 to 8,000 steps per day, many causes of all-cause mortality drop. So, for example, cardiovascular disease, stroke, things that can lead to other forms of disease like type 2 diabetes or high lipids. These things all tend to go down as you get 6 to 8,000 steps per day, and you get diminishing returns beyond 8,000 steps. So I know there's a lot of people say, oh, you got to hit 10,000. That's true when you're under the age of 50. You should aim for 8 to 10,000. But over the age of 50, you really can be okay with 6 to 8,000 steps. Anything over 8,000 it can actually increase your risk of injury, for example. So you don't need to get overzealous and walk all of New York City. That's not what we're telling you to do. And that actually, and that's also a protective mechanism too, because a lot of people, we used to talk about motivation. One powerful thing about motivation is that it's better if you do small daily actions. If you do something that's not sustainable, even if it was really cool for a day, maybe even a week, if you can't keep that up, it doesn't matter, because then you're just like, man, that was too much work. I can't do this. So it's better to walk consistently, like by parking further away from the gym or parking further away from your work, taking the stairs, finding any excuse to move instead of sitting. Get a walking desk. All these things are going to help you get a better return on investment than doing exercises improperly. And everyone knows how to walk, and that's why we want to start with that first.
So start with simple habits of walking more, build that habit into your routine, and that habit, so that the discipline with the habit becomes your normal day, everyday action. And you don't even have to think about it, and you're just doing it, right? It's just flows naturally. So we're talking to men and women in their 50s. So men and women, do they need to approach physical exercise differently besides, past the walking? Do you approach it differently? As men want to get buffed, and women want to tone down. What should their approach be towards physical fitness?
Regardless if you are a male or a female, your approach should be to be consistent. Most people are not consistent. So that's the biggest enemy in the room, is consistency. Once you have consistency in terms of being toned or buffed, is more of a matter of how many calories you eat per day. So for the man that wants to build muscle, he just needs to eat more calories. First of all, he has to eat enough protein to warrant muscle building in the first place, and then eat enough healthy carbohydrates that are high in fiber and low in refined sugars. That's going to help him to build more muscle. So things like lentils, beans, sweet potatoes, these are good quality carbs that helps you to build muscle and doesn't help you build a big stomach. So that's not what we want. Now, there are bodybuilders that would take that they eat rice and all this stuff, but you also have to understand that a lot of these, unfortunately, folks that are claiming that they built this stuff naturally are using enhanced mechanisms to do it. And unless you're taking these enhanced mechanisms, what's working for these individuals will not work for yourself. So natural ways of doing it consist of eating high fiber carbohydrates, because it keeps you full, it doesn't raise your blood sugar and put you at risk of diabetes, and then eating lean sources of protein like from eggs, chicken, things of that sort, or fish. And just eating enough colorful vegetables. Almost very few people eat enough colorful vegetables. And we could talk about that in a second, but you can make all of this exciting where it doesn't taste like sandpaper. A lot of times when people don't want to eat this stuff, it's just because it's not cooked properly. So one place I like personally is like going to Crazy Bowls and Wraps. That's an easy place, not to give a shout out for an ad or anything. This is my own personal thing here. That's easy for me to get vegetables in, especially when you're on the go. We talked about environmental health, because I'm always training people. Well, I can end up missing out on my vegetables. So I like going to Crazy Bowls and Wraps if you're in the St. Louis area. And it's just an easy way to get healthy food that's quick. I personally like the fajita bowl, because it's got a lot of red peppers and different colorful vegetables that taste good to me. So in short, whether you're male or female, focus on being consistent. Make sure you're eating enough calories if you're a man that's trying to build muscle. And for women who are trying to tone, there's no such thing as tone. when people say toning, what they really mean is I want to build muscle without a lot of calories. Because women don't produce enough testosterone to get bulky. So this myth that you're going to just blow up overnight, well, show me one woman that's done that. That doesn't exist. And even the women who are trying to build muscle, they're taking a lot of enhancements to do that, and it's still difficult to build muscle. And even men who have high testosterone or higher testosterone in women, significantly higher, it's difficult for them to build muscle. So you're not just going to build muscle till you start working out. Just stop thinking like that. What's going to happen is you're going to have a nice toned physique, and you're going to have that body in the first place by building lean muscle tissue.
Okay, so it's time to give a shout out to our sponsor, Dr. Kimberly Simons at Ballwin Dental Care. Your oral health is also important, so don't put off care that you need. They offer everything from simple cleanings to basic cleanings to dentures, root canals. Call them today at 636-227-2552 to make your appointment with her team. So Caleb, we kind of talked a little bit about consistency and the importance of consistency. So when you're working with a client and you see progress and you can feel the progress and they're happy, they're feeling more motivated and they motivate themselves off their own success. What is some of the most satisfaction you've had personally helping clients, and maybe your proudest success story that you've had, or a really good work in progress that you can share with us?
I have a few people just tell me that they're no longer in pain. Like their back used to hurt a lot. The neck was killing them. The feet are hurting. When I hear people say, man, Caleb, I don't feel pain anymore, that's the best success story for me. Most people would think, oh, the best success story is someone that lost 50 or 100 pounds and got jacked. Yeah, that's not really sustainable. I care more about people not being in pain, because if you're in pain, none of this stuff matters. Who cares if you're jacked and you're in pain? Trust me, go ask any jacked guy. They'll trade your life very quickly. So when you're pain free, that is the biggest health goal for anyone. Is to be pain free and have good mobility, so you're not restricted. You can be with your family, you be with your children, travel without any restrictions. Those are the biggest success stories for myself, because it enables you to do so much more. Whereas just losing weight or just getting jacked, that doesn't necessarily always help you. So I know plenty of people who built muscle and have messed up back or tendonitis everywhere, or they lost weight and they have body dysmorphia and they're not happy with who they are as a person. So when you're pain free, I think it really just set the stage for so many other things.
That's so true. I can tell you, if you have a bad back, it affects a lot of your life. So walking, getting out of bed, unloading, the dishes, doing just normal day tasks can really wear on you. And I'm sure you want to help people be less dependent on pharmaceuticals, because that's huge right now. Less chemicals in your diet. A lot of supplements stuff have even like aluminum in them. So these things that you don't really want in your body necessarily, that kind of leads us to the GLP-1 drugs, incredibly popular right now. About 12% of the population is taking them. Estimated 30 million people on GLP-1, the variety of GLP-1 drugs. So how do you feel about the drugs and, kind of taking over for people and kind of maybe using as more of a crutch than actually getting the work done and getting it in and with the diet and with exercise?
Yeah, that's also a great question. So first of all, to address the elephant in the room, there's no issue with the GLP-1s in themselves. And fun fact, your body naturally produces a GLP-1. It's called glucagon-like peptide 1. So glucagon-like peptide 1 is a hormone that's released after you eat food, and it makes you feel full. Now, what a GLP-1 does, like with Ozempic, for example, there's a chemical change that keeps that GLP-1 in what we call systemic circulation or your digestive tract longer, so you stay full a lot longer than what's natural. Because your body actually cuts that GLP-1 to an amino acid position, and ultimately you're going to start eating again. But with GLP-1s, the drug form of it, it actually, that enzyme can't cut it, so it can stay around longer and make you feel full. And unfortunately, some of the side effects with it is like stomach issues, like nausea, vomiting, your stomach churning, because it's sticking around longer than normal. So the price, no pun intended, can be high for taking this stuff just physiologically. Never mind The fact that even the people who lose the weight on the GLP-1s, the moment you stop taking it, research shows that most of the weight is going to come back and maybe even more than what you lost. So you're going to have to take this drug for the rest of your life and possibly deal with the side effects taken. I had a few clients who actually erroneously thought that they could just take GLP-1s as a magic drug and got a strong wake-up call, came off of it, lost muscle mass, and now they're working out with me. Another thing is you lose muscle as you take GLP-1. So you may say, oh, I don't care about being jacked. But when you lose muscle, that lowers your metabolic rate. Metabolic rate is how many calories you use at rest. If the number of calories you use at rest drops, if it drops, guess what happened? You can gain more weight. So if your metabolic rate was 2,000, now it's down to 1,500, now it's easier to gain weight. Who wants to do that? So you don't want a lower metabolic rate than normal by losing muscle mass, because your muscle is more active than fat mass. And GLP-1s do cause muscle wasting when you're not exercising. So you actually, ironically, have to exercise even on a GLP-1. Now, GLP-1s are really powerful for controlling appetite. They actually act on part of your brain called your hypothalamus and make you feel full and make you not want to eat that much, because your hypothalamus, part of your brain, does regulate hunger satiety signals. So that is pretty cool. But also, as I said already, you actually release this hormone in the first place naturally. So how can we use this drug, quote unquote, naturally and not pay for it? Well, eating enough fiber. When you eat enough fiber, it actually stretches your stomach lining and it tells your nervous system, hey, I need you to stop eating. So things such as beans, lentils, like think about it, Rich. How many people have gotten diabetes eating beans?
I don't know. Not many.
I mean, not many, or apples. No one gets diabetes eating apples, beans, high fiber foods. It just doesn't happen. People get these issues from processed junk, like refined sugars that don't have any nutrient value. So when you eat enough fiber, it naturally tells your brain, hey, stop doing that. When you eat enough protein, you also release hormones like peptide, tyrosine. Tyrosine is known as peptide YY. It actually acts on the brain like a GLP-1 and also say, stop eating. So that's actually pretty cool. And also eating slowly. When people take time to eat their food slowly, it tells the brain, hey, I'm getting nourishment. The nutrients coming in. When you eat too fast, it's not even clear what is coming in. So ultimately, one, you take in more calories than your body actually needed. It's kind of like a stoplight. You were driving so fast, you drove further than you needed to. Like you're driving, but you ran a red light. So when you're eating slowly, you can see that yellow light come up. Oh, wait a minute, let me slow down. I think that's enough. And it takes about 20 minutes for that light to change signal. So ultimately, eating slowly, getting enough fiber, eating enough protein, and simply drinking water has the same effects of a GLP-1, and it's a lot cheaper, and it's more sustainable, and you will feel better about yourself, and you don't lose muscle mass. So I ask the audience, would you rather have something that's cheap and you could do sustainably, or would you rather pay a pharmaceutical for the rest of your life, lose muscle mass, and have a stomach that's hurting?
There you go, everybody. So send your comments to us at Fit Focused and 50. Send them to Caleb. You can find Caleb on Instagram, at CNP Fitness on Instagram, and us on Facebook, all the socials, YouTube. Caleb, thank you so much for your time. This was so educational. I'm really looking forward to have you back again. And
Absolutely.
we'll talk more about nutrition and exercise programs and what people need to do to get themselves that 1% better every day and get on track for a happier, healthier life. Thank you, Caleb, for your time. Thank you, Dr. Kimberly Simons and Ballwin Dental Care, for your time and for supporting us. Have a great day today, everyone, and make tomorrow even better. Thank you very much.
That wraps up another episode of the Fit, Focused, and 50 podcast. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day and an even better tomorrow. And until next time, find us on all the socials. Please like, follow, share, and subscribe. And as always, feedback is welcome.